Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, one and all. Friends of the canyon, people of the comments. There it is. It actually did not take that much to transition from episode 8 to this installment 9. I say that semi-facetiously. I started wrenching on this to try to get it ready to get some wheel time, hoping to beat the new normal time sundown. You know, it's dark at 4:30. So I think we might beat it. We'll at least get to do a couple runs. First and most notably, if we turn this on, I did mount the switch. It's right in there. You can see it there. Delectable silence. Also, some wrongs in the universe have been righted. There it is. The 1.5 is back in the stable. No more of that NACO terrible thing that is a punishment to all parties involved. We had a micro parade of successes and failures, which was everything was going together smashingly. And then I was tightening, that one. And my little custom modify, see the split? So when it's split, it ran havoc on that thing. That guy is gonzo. I'm probably going to have to kill the SLW hub to get that out, because when it torqued it, it properly torqued it. The dangers of power tools, I guess. Also, we can do this. We can do this. We can do the crab. We can do the opposite. And I have to say, this is my third RC4 modified for four-wheel steer duty. I feel like this is my best work. I had an extra wheel because, as you can see, just over there in the background, Eddie's wheel is an old aftermarket wheel that I dremeled out to fit the half shape of the inside of that steering wheel, so I could use that wheel. Because these guys, these are just ever so slightly undersized. I had hoped to use this guy and have two of them, but the wheel mounted up so tight that I actually, my finger will, right there, I actually had to grind a little bit out with the Dremel to get the single wrap of tape not to touch. Inhuman thumbs. Once this guy has got some you'll notice I left a gap. Once this guy has got some wheel time on him and I know everything is hunky-dory, I will make a little mark on here that lines up. I'll make a little orange mark that lines up with that so that we can get the center to the center, or maybe rewrap it. I have a whole roll of this grip tape. Wrap it so that the put the line on here first, then I'll know. Whoop. Like I would genuinely prefer that to be the center, even though it's really not. I don't know why, but on the VR knob, like this is lined up on the VR knob. We can show Eddie's for point of reference. There's the little nibbin, and the little nibbin lines up right there. So that's center instead of, straight up and down. It's cocked back about, 15 degrees. They had a reason, I assume. So rear wheels are pretty much straight on right there with it. Let's just say I'll get used to it. The wheel track on these wheels comes out to about 12 3/4. They're a little fatter than the Super Swampers. The Super Swampers have never proven to be a tremendous rock crawling tire. They're a pretty good all around, overall, do all sorts of stuff tire. I think everything is centered. I think we've still got hellish noises. It's much louder now that it's confined inside the cage. For the moment, I just have the battery strapped up there in the forward position. I don't know with the relative weight of this thing. I don't know how much 4 ounces of nose weight is going to help. Like I say, the links are probably not in the final positions. The rear drive shaft angle is insane. That's insane. But it looks like it's going to work. So I don't think we can ask more of it than just work. So let us do one final thing. Oh, I feel like I can still hear the beep even though the beep is gone. Which, I mean, I guess that's a thing. I've got transient ghost beep. It's not light. I can see that with some authority. And we're going to need a block. Some of the batteries in these scales have been the batteries in these scales for, I don't know, years. Oh! We'll tear that. Let's start with our good friend, the gram. 3,768. That is 8.3 pounds. We have added no weight. The Ryft, as mentioned, with that 385 millimeter wheelbase, is a big boy. And it might have gained a little bit of weight going 4-wheel steer because, you know, there's more stuff back there. I can't wait any longer. We might ride till sundown. We'll see if we get into the golden hour and we get some particularly good looks at it. I don't know what I'm going to mount the camera up in. We'll find out when we get out there. I think we're just going to do what we do here in the canyon and just go straight for the tough stuff. That way I can set myself up for disappointment. Let's take our good friend Robo Kitty out directly to Daphne's other line and see how we do. Oh, and how's this for a transition? All right. Okay, get ready. Get ready. Oh, no. That was something. The shadows are getting real long out here. I will say the outrunner noise is much more manageable outdoors than it is in the shop. It's much louder and horrible in the shop. Well, it can crawl. I don't, like I say, I turned off the idle beep, but I don't remember like what any of the drag brake settings were or anything like that. She's kind of a, they are kind of a constant throttle entity. No, wrong way. I'm not 100% sure these 45 kilo have enough, because like I think, it'll cut back. I've just got that rear. I did not get the angle correct. That rear pumpkin is buried. Yeah, even with the torque of that outrunner, it does not want to. Yeah, you could really see the rear there, just over right there. Oh, that's because that servo horn is like some sort of savory thing, isn't it? It has like a little metal spring guy in it. Yeah, we're gonna have to address that. We don't need that kind of stuff. And also, I did the, yeah, that rear is just so flumpy. Like, look at it push. There's no steering input there. You can actually watch the horn move and the wheels not do anything. So the gearing reduction is so minimal in the gearbox that on the drive back here, I did indeed drive it back so we could get a little bit of, so I could get a little feel for how it was going to move. It'll go well faster than walking pace on a 760 kV. It's probably topping out, I would say, somewhere close to 5 miles an hour. So that's what we had to do to get a Ryft, because as I've said, they recommend 3 to 4S in a Ryft. I can't imagine 4S in this. And I think an RTR has a over 2,000 kV motor. Well, they weren't building a rock crawler, and it's pretty obvious. That rear end is really getting hung up right there. There's that little point. I feel if I can get this thing, I mean, it's stable enough. Like, I thought that would launch that nose over. I feel like I have to drop driving to talk because that outrunner's loud. Yeah, that's getting that front tire appreciably high, and like, I can't do anything with the rear axle. So the haphazardly and randomly chosen link positions seem okay. I've gotten stuck in the exact same position every time. So we're gonna shuttle around this and just go at something so we can see this thing actually climb. I have, like, if we want to call front steer plus rear steer 100%, I feel like I have about, in most instances, I have about 70% steering. Like, look, that rear is nowhere near lock, because there it goes. That little saver that's built into the stock horn is just so weak. That I can't really use it to. I also, I can tell you right now, I need to do something out here. That's where my thumb lands, right on that smooth ring, and on the smooth ring, there's no grip. That's not bad on the drag brake there, but because of that saver, I'm using about half the steering, and I can't even get it back to center. So that's what we're doing. We're finding out what's gonna work. Yeah, I never know where the rear wheels are gonna go. You know, I'm not mad. It's it's certainly better than I thought it was gonna be. The biggest issue is honestly the rear steer. I really have about a quarter of the rear steer at my disposal. These are not, for some reason, the showdowns are not the grabbiest things I've ever seen in this situation. Let's get in here real narrow. Yeah, it's just, I'm assuming because of the nature of that saver, I didn't put any steer angle into that. There we go. The terrain is just pushing the rear tires wherever it wants. That wasn't bad. But again, I didn't put any steer input there. Well, that's what they call intractable, I think. Man, it can contort. See, I think the LCX, I think that's an LCX from Amazon. The horn quote unquote saver in the front. And I don't think it has the little spring mechanism in it. It's just a double clamping horn. And I kind of liked the look of the double clamping horn. So I may or may not have ordered another one of those, you know, just to get things symmetrical. That hold isn't bad. Flat ground, we can get some decent four-wheel steer, but in the rock, I'm just going to assume it's the rear saver, and I'm going to stop dwelling on it because I've ordered another horn. It's not nearly as much ground clearance as one would think. Guess we should, doesn't hurt to try the bump out here. Yeah, like you could watch the rear end just blobbling all over the place, and that was under no input. So like right there, I think that's genuinely hurting its raw climbing ability. Let's try something else. And what are we doing if we're not hitting the old trio? So try to seat myself here in a naturally existing shadow. More a test of tire than anything, as has been stated many times in the past. And oh, that brake over. Little bump. Better, honestly, you have to, okay. When I say you, I mean me. I'm talking to me. I have to take into consideration that we have absolutely no tuning. And as people, I think, potentially rightfully mentioned in the comments, there was some concern after episode 7, the first part of this section of the operation, that they were worried about the triangulation of the rear. As it turns out, the trailing arms are not straight. Let's see if we can see here. Yeah, you can see the angle of the rear links. They're about, I want to say they have about 20 millimeters of offset to the rear. So it is double triangulation, and because the triangulation is so severe on the top, where, I mean, it goes from like 4.5 inches down to where they're basically mounted next to each other, that the front end has the tiniest little bit of side-to-side slop, but a tiny bit. I mean, obviously. I don't know if it's obvious to anyone. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm going to tweak in Castle Link a little more, but I don't know how much. Because honestly, as I sit here and I look at it, I think this whole experience would be, if not radically improved, then at least significantly improved by some form of, some sort of Outrunner dedicated speed control, be it an Flash AM32, be it a Ninja, be it a Holmes. I would love to try a Holmes if they were routinely in stock. I know Furatech makes one that some folks have recommended. Look at that. Watch that steer in the rear. Watch right. That's not me. I'm not doing that. How's that? Oh! Oh. Well, I mean, you know. These things happen. Let's hit that steep bit of the side hill here while I cogitate over where else to go before it gets dark. Try the usual. Keep that tire up above the rib right there. Now this thing is, in 10th scale terms, which it is not, This would this would be a 150-inch wheelbase, just a little long. Try to keep that tire up above the top. Try to initiate some four-wheel steer. Yeah, it wasn't enough. Oh, that's lifting. Yeah, I mean, we got down onto the ground. It's just so big. I'm not sure if Jolly Green, who's a 6x, I'm not sure if he is 385 from front to rear. Yeah, there's some good shooty punch to that 760. Should have put that in active track. Oh, to have access to all of my steering would be great, honestly. Some few select moments. See, that's an acceptably tight radius there. And with I'm gonna try the bump. With my philosophy towards servos, which is we never look back, we always look forward. So if I wanted to replace these 45s with like some direct power stuff, I would have to find two guys to take these 45s. I think Rusty's on a cheap one, but I'm gonna wait for the saver. I'm gonna wait for the horn, not the saver, for that aluminum horn, and we'll see if that makes things any better before I go dumping money into servos for this. So here at Sleeping Giant, next to the roar of the fountain, as the sun dips below the horizon, and I don't have enough steering, let us take a little hack here at Sleeping Giant. I want to see that rear axle do something. Obey. Just skating the front end there. Yeah, I was genuinely surprised on the drive out here how fast this thing is on 760 kV. It's just, there's not a lot of gear reduction in there. I'm happy with the low speed, and I think if I can get a side hill where there isn't tremendous shadows, or if it's just not in the dark, a side hill that we can stay on, I think this thing's gonna be pretty good on the side hill. Love to be able to use more steer there. Oh yeah, that's nice. This is one where it's kind of the opposite of how Jolly Green works. Like, I have to get used to just how big this is. It's big. The tires are absolutely not terrible. I'm sure there's something out there more suited to this. These aren't bad though. I would be, if it came down to putting money into tire, or putting money into servo, or putting money into it's speed control. Speed control would oust the servo. I can learn to live with the tires and the steering once that rear end is fixed, and just to tame that just raw amount of noise down. kind of goes at stuff with more speed than what you would expect. It still has some of that bouncer heritage to it. Well, let's see how good it can really side hill and take it into something. We're gonna flip that camera around and do something real dumb, and if it falls in the pit, I will bid us all adieu. All right. If there's anybody that can stay cliff hanging on the edge of this, it's gonna be this. There's definitely a learning curve here. I've got 2 other 4-wheel steer rigs, and this is not like either of them. It's so long. And doing what I'm doing right now, I don't know if this thing would be drivable on the KV that I was looking at originally, like putting a 2100 or a 1900 in here. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, this is a specialist right here. Oh, if only I had access to all my steering. Yeah, so the steering is going to be much like my relationship with axial vehicles. It is mirrored in my relationship with DJI devices. The phone is currently clamped into a, what is this, the Osmo Mobile 6, and you have to use the app in order to get all the functionality. Like right now, the camera is supposed to track the object, and it's tracking nothing. There we go. It's supposed to track, and then sometimes it just stops recording, turns itself off, does all sorts of things. And I've found that the #1 culprit for shoddy behavior is I forget to take my phone off of Wi-Fi, and it's seeking for Wi-Fi so that it can play the ads that take place inside. It's not so much ads as like how-tos and tutorials and stuff. I don't need that. Once I press the record button, turn all of that stuff off. Don't suggest anything to me. Just let me figure it out on my own. I'm not going to move so that my shadow just looks like anything else. So here's where we'll close it out. I'll do a little right to left here. If we can get some cooperation from the device. Shouldn't be anything too difficult for this. It's not bad. I do understand at this point how. So I love the little start of the. I like that, but when you get into that like 20% trigger position, the sound you'll hear here momentarily, that right there, not as hot on that sound. Watching how slow that spur turns is one of my favorite things. Yeah, RoboKitty is going to be one of the king side hillers now. Don't slip off. There we go. Wanted to see if I can pivot and keep it below that little guy right there. And I think we would have had the rear not gone marshmallow on me. See what kind of breachability we've got while we're at it. Oh, easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, mac and cheesy. Yeah, you do got to, you kind of got to attack with a little bit more throttle than you would think. Oh, look at that. Look at that twist. You know what? I need to capture that for the thumbnail, because that's great. So we'll take that opportunity, we being us, being me, to thank you for joining for this one. This, for me, was one of the more informative wheeling sessions I've had in recent memory. I think RoboKitty did far better than I would have anticipated. The noise was to be expected. The only thing that caught me off guard was that rear. I guess it is a saver, because in the rock bouncer racer mode, you don't want to snap something. So it might be as simple as just putting a couple of the regular Amazon cheapo horns on it and just going rigid and seeing how that works. I did order the other one. We'll see. We've got some options. We'll see. I feel like I can always use more steering, and this is no exception. I might take out the screws, the little limiter screws, to get just that little bit more throw in each direction, because I don't really need to worry about it. I'm not going fast. If anyone has modded their knuckles to get more throw out of some Ryft axles, please do let me know if it's okay to, you know, get a little hack in there to try to get these things to turn a little more. Because more steering would be better. I think it's got the power. I think it's mostly got the grip. Once we get the steering sussed out, I think everything will be pretty good. So please do comment below, everybody. Please do tune in for the next one. It's supposed to rain next couple days, despite the fact that it's really nice outside right now. And so it might throw a wrench at some stuff. We'll see. We'll see. So thank you again for the final time in these minutes. Please do comment. Please do tune in for the next one. Be absolutely sure. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.